Hi, so I'm going to be making a video today talking about abortion and pro-life versus pro-choice politics. Oh, fun. I think it needs to be said, what I'm going to say. A warning, I'm a little bit congested. I'm having a hard time breathing because I'm congested, and so I might sound nasally. And so just to let you know, I don't have my full energy right now. I'm a little bit sick. I'm trying. It really sucks being sick. But anyways, I have to do this. I have posted on my YouTube channels several videos, music videos, with pro-life messages. Now, I'm not talking or wading into the politics at all myself in those videos, the way I'm going to do right now, but they're just songs that have messages that are along the lines of pro-life. And then I combine that with imagery that really enhances those lyrics. And I did it first with Madonna's Papa Don't Preach, which is such an explicitly pro-life song. It's insane. You know, people think of Madonna as this really well, I mean, she is. She's totally committed to pro-choice and the liberal feminist order of the day, right? So it's all about, I mean, not even just pro-choice, but like pro-abortion. But in the 80s, when she made that song, not necessarily. I mean, I think she was definitely probably pro-choice, but she did make a song that had pro-life messages back in the 80s. You can't deny it. She tries to deny it now and says, oh, well, it was just about confronting the patriarchy. Well, okay, Madonna, I suppose so, if you want to say that the patriarchy is the reason why women are having abortions. I could get on board with that. But it's more than confronting the patriarchy. It's also in terms of abortion and reproduction rights and human reproduction. That's what you were getting at in that song. And she received praise from the Catholic Church at the time because they agreed, they heard the pro-life messaging in that song as well. And so I just combined it for the video. I just put pictures that I found on the internet of pro-life marches, rallies in the United States and Canada. Okay, and I only made it for the original song, but then I decided to put that video to a whole bunch of remixes of Papa Don't Preach. Then I decided, okay, let's do something even better, because you know what? The liberal left-wing point of view is pretty dominant in pop culture music. But it's not the only one. So Papa Don't Preach is an example of a song that has ideology within it that is not part of the left liberal order. If you want to think of pro-life, it's not part of the left liberal order. No, it's not. So there are some exceptions. Papa Don't Preach. And another really good exception that often gets overlooked is a song by Lauryn Hill, To Zion. This is from her groundbreaking. I mean, Lauryn Hill is an exceptional artist. She's a category unto herself. She really is spectacular. And she has a song, To Zion, which is on the album called Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. It's the second song on the CD, okay? And that song really goes through what I think we can call pro-life feminism. And it was through the course of doing these videos and looking up for images on the internet that I even found out that pro-life feminism is a thing. I mean, it was a thing before, but kind of got squashed. But it's made a comeback in recent years, and I think that's great. I could see that in the images. There's been several feminist rallies of feminists, people who mostly women, who identify as feminists, but they are pro-life. And we've been taught for the past 30, 40 years that that's a contradiction. No, it's not. And those feminists can explain it, and I'm going to do my best to explain it right now. I'm a little bit sick and tired, and my brain isn't firing on all cylinders. I'm not at my best, but I'm going to try. So yeah, Lauryn Hill's To Zion does a really good job of representing feminist, pro-life feminism. I don't know if Lauryn Hill herself is pro-life, or if she identifies as a feminist even, or if she identifies as a pro-life feminist. I'm not going to get into that. It's not about her specifically, but that song that she's singing encapsulates the ideas that are behind pro-life feminism. And she certainly does talk about social justice in her music. So I wouldn't be surprised. Now, I just need to... So the thing is, ever since I started posting these videos, it's been radio silent on my channels. No comments, no likes, no new subscribers. Like, I was going through a period of rapid growth on one of my channels. It all fell flat as soon as I started doing this. I was already dealing with censorship, though, around copyright issues, okay? YouTube is already jacking me around when it comes to copyright issues and songs that are not even political. So the whole reason why I was doing music videos in the first place was to avoid the BS of censorship. They're going to give me BS over copyright issues and let other people have stuff, but just not let me. Then what's my incentive to leave politics out of it? There is no incentive. So I'm diving right in. Okay, diving right in. YouTube brought that on by acting like absolute fools when it comes to copyright. Just a little aside. I'm not being allowed to have a Pretenders song and a Madonna song on my YouTube channel. For no reason. Everything is copyright, but they still allow it. And they still allow it. Those particular two songs are not being allowed on my channel. They're allowed on other people's channels just fine. Why am I being targeted? And why is it I've never posted an entire album. Madonna's new album, Finally Enough Love? Do you think I bought it? No. It's on YouTube for free. People post entire albums on YouTube and get away with it. I would think that would be a copyright violation. The Finally Enough Love album it's the entire album broken up into 2 videos is on YouTube. And that's where I get it from. If I need to get something from that album, do you think I'm going to pay for it? Yeah, right. So, so the thing is I don't even do that. But other people are allowed to post the entire album, and they get away with it. I can't even post a song. So here we go. I'm being political. Now, I just need to get this going on my phone. So yeah, it was one thing to have radio silence and be totally ignored. But then what's triggered this today is that somebody actually wrote under my Lauryn Hill To Zion pro-life feminist video that I put up last night. Someone wrote a comment saying thumbs down. So they want me to know that they disapprove of that video. They have nothing specific to say. I mean, there's a lot of substance there. What do you take issue with? What do you disagree with? Could you tell me what it is? No. They have nothing to say other than they want to voice their disapproval. Well, that's pretty weak sauce, but it does motivate me to get even stronger with this. So that's why I'm doing this. And I want to just watch the video to kind of trigger my discussions. There's so many different random things that I can say about it. So I'll just watch the video to get going in terms of what it is that I need to say. Yeah, the first feminists were pro-life. I don't know if I can see that. No, you can't. The first feminists were pro-life. That is true. That is true. So this idea that we have now that feminism is inconsistent with a pro-life message, it's relatively recent. It only came about in the 70s, later 70s and 80s, after Gloria Steinem took over the feminist movement. She took over the feminist movement and became the leading voice in it. And look into that. I'm not going to go into all that history right now, but look up Gloria Steinem and look up what feminism was like before Gloria Steinem joined the scene, like in the 60s, women's liberation, it was called then. And then after, when Gloria Steinem joined the scene, she's the one who she rocketed past all these other high-profile feminists who had been doing a lot of great work. She got launched up to the top of the movement. She launched her Ms. magazine, and she made it into all about trying to make women into basically a recreation of men. Oh, if a man can do it, then a woman can too. Oh, a man can have a job, then a woman can too. A man can have a career outside the home, then a woman can too. That's what the movement became obsessed with. Okay? That is not what feminism was obsessed with before Gloria Steinem came along. It was actually about empowering women and liberating women as women, not, trying to create another group of men who have vaginas. No, it was about women as women having empowered lives. Big difference. And Gloria Steinem is shady as fuck. Her credentials, her university that she went to, her awards that she's won, very suspicious. I'm not going to get into all of that because I don't have the information at the top of my head, and it'll be distracting to get into it. But it's very quick to find out. You just do a quick Google, you look at her credentials. There's some, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, there's some award that she won, some scholarship that she won, high prestigious scholarship. She's the only fucking person to ever get that scholarship in the history of the world. Okay? She's basically a CIA plant. That's what I'm insinuating here. Now I'm saying it. Yeah, I'm not the first one to say it. Other people have said it, and there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that points to that. I don't know if there's smoking gun evidence. I don't know that for sure. But there's smoking gun evidence. She certainly found a lot of success in the feminist movement and changed the gears of that movement and made it into something that is far more conflictual with men as well. So I actually think she's a fucking obnoxious piece of work. So, yeah. So before Gloria Steinem came along, pro-life was part of feminism. Why would that be? Well, you know what? Part of being a woman is getting pregnant and having babies. It's the natural condition. Women get pregnant. That's what happens to their bodies. Okay? And if we're going to accept women as women and empower women, truly empower women, then we need to create a world that is accommodating to pregnant women as well, because that's part of being a woman. Pregnant women and mothers need to be accommodated and accepted and supported. And that should be the goal, one of the prime goals of feminism. Abortion only came along as a top objective of the feminist movement, right? In as part of this context of Gloria Steinem saying, okay, well, we need to be working women, we need to be out in the business world, we need to basically living our lives like men, and this baby that now I'm pregnant with is getting in the way of that, so I need to have the option the choice to abort that baby, to kill that baby, so that I can carry on living my life trying to copy as a man would live his life. Yeah. How is that feminism, really? That's like trying to live like men, which I don't see how that is even feminism. No. Real feminism accepts women for who they are, that they are women. And part of being a woman is being pregnant for just about all women. Okay? And so that's what really should be accepted. Not trying to transform or reconfigure women so that now they can live the lives of men. That's a huge point. Let's go on. Yeah, I've got crazy neighbors, so you might hear them in this video. Abortion is the ultimate exploitation of women. So says an old school feminist from back in the day. Right. Because that child, that baby, that woman's body is being violated and exploited. How is this not something almost like rape? Like you're having instrumentation and medical devices put into you to extract your baby. This is part of yeah, that is exploiting women. And then when you think about the fact that there's a whole industry that has developed that's around harvesting the byproducts of an abortion. So the body parts or the blood or whatever it is, I don't know exactly, but it does happen. Planned Parenthood has been caught on tape admitting to this. Okay. So, it's a product. These aborted fetuses are actually a product that are worth money. And they've got these women thinking that they need to have abortions so that they can live a life emulating a man's life. And so then they're signing up to have an abortion, but they're something from their body is now being used as a product. So that is absolutely the ultimate exploitation of women. Absolutely. I love this one. Our liberation cannot be bought with the blood of our children. Right. And these are children. These are children, these are babies, these are human lives, even if they're not born yet. It needs to be said. So, that's a part of feminism too. A big part of feminism and the women's movement in general is about nonviolence, right? And I'm totally nonviolent. It's about nonviolence, and it's about love and finding the loving way forward, as opposed to like violence, blood and gore. So abortion is totally not consistent with that. Abortion is a fundamentally violent act. You're killing a baby. So that's not consistent with feminism either. Going on. I'm just doing my best to try to tune out the insanity that goes on out here. Let's go on. Abortion is fake feminism. I agree. For some of the reasons that I've just been outlining. I love this one. Okay, you can't see it. Why am I showing you? Abortion is a symptom of women's oppression, not a solution to it. Right. It's a symptom of women's oppression. If women were not right, if the fact that we have this whole economy and this whole world that makes it so difficult for women, in particular young women, to live their lives as they would do naturally. So with being pregnant and with having babies, the fact that our social systems and our economic systems are incompatible with the natural state of what it is to be a woman, that is oppressing of women. Okay? And the fact that many women feel the need to have an abortion when they get pregnant because of their job or because of their career or because of finances or because of lack of housing, which is a big one. Women feel that they need to have an abortion because of these reasons. Well, if you wanted to really liberate women, you would address those issues, not just make it easier to have an abortion. Why don't we make it easier for a young woman to have a baby? Why not support that? Why not have it so that they do get money, that they do have the resources to look after their baby, that they do have housing, that they if they want to, they can go to a job and take the child there, have childcare on the site, whatever it may be, whatever it may look like. Why can't we design and devise social systems and economic systems that are actually supportive and complementary of the natural state of women and actually meet women's real needs? That would be addressing women's oppression, not have an abortion. So that's exactly what that's talking about. And yeah, there's something else I wanted to say about that. Right, and that actually lines up with a whole branch of feminism, which is called socialist feminism, which talks about the fact that, human reproduction and social reproduction is actually a need. It's a need. Like, we need it as a society. It's not just about women in their natural state. Oh, and let's accommodate their natural state. We actually need this shit to happen. We need people to have babies in order to keep the human species going, in order to keep the economy going, in order so that there's going to be enough workers, in the next generation as time goes on. We need the species to reproduce itself. That actually serves a utilitarian function. So the socialist feminist argument would be that should be paid for. Right. So why don't we fucking pay women to have babies? Instead of making it a burden, why don't you pay them? And so that leads into all these politics around, the stigmatization of the welfare mom, which I'm totally against. My mom was on welfare. And she had 3 kids. I don't join in that. When people start saying, oh, well, she's on welfare and she's got tons of kids. Good. Great. Wonderful. She's reproducing this human species. She should be fucking paid for that. So, we need to get over that. We need to get over that. And that doesn't mean necessarily it has to look like welfare moms. There's different ways to set it up, but that's one way. That's one way. Let's go on. Abortion is a reflection that we have not met the needs of women. Right. If we had met the needs of women, like along the lines that I'm saying, there wouldn't be a need to have abortions. Because most women actually want to have kids. The women that I know, all of them in my life, they all want to have kids. They all want to be mothers. And the women that I know who are not mothers, except for one, are all really bent out of shape out of it. They're heartbroken. If they get into an older age and never have kids, they are upset about it, most of them. Most of them. And so, again, women, for the most part, don't want to be men. And part of being a woman is getting pregnant and having babies. That's part of the condition of being a woman. And the other part is, when you're young, at your prime, like I'm talking 20-year-old women are the ones who should be mothers, not 40-year-olds who their eggs are all dried up and now they're having a baby who's like has all sorts of issues because the DNA has degraded. What is that doing to our human species, by the way? So, no, when you're at the age when you're supposed to reproduce, like around 20, that is when, for the most part, women should be having babies. And that is when, for the most part, now women are having abortions, because our whole society is set up against that. I've actually covered most of it. I love this. They're marching, and it says badass pro-life feminists. I mean, put me in that category. I don't like the word feminist. I stopped. I used to identify as a feminist. Then I stopped. But I still could be. I'm this kind, but if I'm a feminist, I'm this kind. I'm a badass pro-life feminist. Okay. Yeah, I said that. Okay. So, I guess I'm getting pretty close to wrapping this up. 23 minutes. Wow. Oh, a few words on Roe versus Wade. It's been really entertaining watching people in the United States lose their shit over Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade was a Supreme Court decision in the 70s that essentially made abortion a constitutional right for women. Reality check, Americans. There's no other fucking country on the planet Earth that ever had that. And every other country, the sky did not fall. I'm in Canada. There's never been Roe versus Wade in Canada. There's never been a constitutional right to have an abortion. Think about that. Like a right. You consider that to be your enshrined right in the Constitution. Like, wouldn't there be more important other things that should be a right before the right to kill babies? Like, I don't know, maybe like, how about a right to housing? I'd like to see that as a constitutional right. A right to housing. A right to a decent standard of living. a right to a job, maybe not a good job, but a job of some kind that you can support yourself. Now that would be the kind of thing that I would think should be a constitutional right, way before the right to have an abortion. So it's fucking bizarre that that even would have become a constitutional right in the United States. As far as I know, there's no other country in the world that ever had to have a constitutional right to an abortion. And guess what? Abortions still happen in all these other countries, Canada, everywhere else, that doesn't have Roe versus Wade. They don't have to have it constitutionally enshrined, and it still fucking happens. So get a reality check, people. And the other thing is about that is that the arguments that were being used in the 70s around Roe versus Wade are out of date. And one of the biggest arguments, I don't know if it was used, so Roe versus Wade was a court case, but it was also a social cultural moment. And it led to the decriminalization of abortion around the world, even if there's no constitutional right in Canada. It was around that time in Canada, too, that any anti-abortion laws got repealed. They just got repealed, by the way, and then no new laws got put in. So Canada actually has no laws on abortion. You can fucking have an abortion right until the moment that you're going into labor in Canada, okay? Because there are no laws about it. It's just the laws against it got repealed. But the arguments that were circulating at that time, because it was a time of lots of social debate, hot debate about the topic of abortion, a lot of those arguments no longer apply. That was 40, 50 fucking years ago. Technology has changed. I remember reading some old literature from the 70s that was talking about Roe versus Wade, and one of the main arguments was that a woman does not have, that the baby does not deserve to have, the unborn baby does not deserve to have like full rights as a human being because of the fact that its life is dependent on the mother's life. So because the baby is not capable of living separate from the unborn baby, the fetus, is not capable of living separate from its mother, the argument was that means it doesn't deserve to get all the full rights of a human being. Well, not just bypassing the merits of that argument, that is no longer true, thanks to medical technology. So we now have babies, fetuses, premature ones, being born at 20 weeks pregnant. That's like half of a pregnancy. A full-term pregnancy is 40 weeks. 40 weeks. They can be born at 20 weeks. So that's halfway through. And they can live in an incubator. Okay? At the same time, we are aborting those babies at that term as well. Well, the whole argument that the baby cannot live independent of the mother, which was one of the prime arguments of the 70s in the context of Roe versus Wade, that doesn't apply because actually they can live independent of the mother. Medical technology has progressed to the point where they can live independent of the mother. So I'd like to say to you people who support abortion and you call yourselves pro-choice, yeah, it's not pro-fucking choice, by the way. If these choice that these women are making to have an abortion, how much of it is a choice? How much of that is a free will? When I've just gone down the list of constraints, well, they have to do it because of their job, because of societal pressure, family pressure, because they're not going to be able to go to work, because they're not going to be able to find housing. That's not a choice. That is a choice. That is not free will. That is a heavily constrained choice. So don't call yourselves pro-choice, okay? You're pro-abortion. And but how much of that even apply? I'd like you to consider the fact that on one floor of the hospital, we've got a woman going in 20 weeks pregnant, getting an abortion, and on the floor upstairs, we've got a woman going in 20 weeks pregnant, giving birth to a baby that's going to live. Okay? So your arguments that you used in the 70s in Roe versus Wade that these babies couldn't live independent of their mother? Not true. Not true anymore in many cases. And the late term abortions happen way more than you think. Okay. I think I've just about covered it. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've said most of what I need to say. So, check yourselves.